How are you doing? Are you okay? Did you survive? Are you going to make it? I know it's been horrible. Bitcoin crashed. Again. Which means it's time to buy the freaking dip. Hopefully you already did, because you've been stacking on Wednesdays. And if you haven't, hopefully this will be your reminder that today is DCA Wednesday. This podcast is for information and entertainment purposes only. Nothing on this podcast should be construed as financial advice. All views expressed on this podcast are solely the opinions of the host and or any guests that we might have from time to time. Nothing on this podcast should be construed as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or to follow a particular investing strategy. Welcome to the Bitcoin Bulletin Podcast, DCA Wednesday edition. Today is November 17th, 2021, and, well, there's been a lot of news this week, but, of course, the only thing most people seem to care about is the price. Bitcoin is down, and depending when you're listening, Bitcoin was as low as $58,380 earlier this morning or late last night, depending where you're at. Naturally, of course, nobody remembers that just 5 months ago, before we started this journey, Bitcoin was trading at $30,000 a share, so we're still double what we were just 5 months ago. Nonetheless, Bitcoin is down almost 12% from that all-time high we set just 7 days ago at $66,999 if you follow Coinbase, or $66,950 according to Clark Moody's dashboard. Depending where you get your news, people are blaming all kinds of things for the decline in Bitcoin's price, from the potential of the Mt. Gox coins to possibly be dumped, to the infrastructure bill with its IRS broker provisions that allegedly will take effect in 2024 if something isn't done to remove it, although efforts are already underway in Congress to squash that. And again, it won't even happen until 2024. And CNN is even bringing out the China FUD again, with their headline, quote, Bitcoin falls as China takes aim once again at, quote, extremely harmful, unquote, crypto mining, unquote. So apparently, even after China banned Bitcoin again for certain this time, they feel it necessary to remind everybody that they're really super serious. Others are just pointing out that, sometimes people take profits. Still others are pointing out that the last few times that Bitcoin's trended up in, quote, no dip November, it actually really wasn't until after Thanksgiving that Bitcoin made its explosive exponential gains. Who knows? All I do know is it means we're getting to buy Bitcoin a lot cheaper than if we had just stacked yesterday or the day before. And that is why we are here today. We are here because it is DCA Wednesday, or Dollar Cost Average Wednesday. As you know, we've been stacking $20 worth of sats every Wednesday since last July as we explore this popular investment strategy. Again, this is not financial advice. We are simply exploring the concept of dollar cost averaging and hoping that maybe as you follow along, you will be able to take that into account when it comes to making your own decisions on what you do with your money. Again, dollar cost averaging is an investment strategy where you invest your money in equal portions at regular intervals regardless of price. We chose Wednesdays and we chose $20. Some people dollar cost average every day. Some people do every paycheck. Some people do once a month. Again, you do you. You pick a strategy that you feel comfortable with money that you can afford to lose. Again, never invest any money that you're going to need right away, or definitely any money that you can't afford to lose. And it is important to keep in mind that dollar cost averaging is a long-term strategy. It is meant to spread your investment out over a period of years, if not decades. And that is because, as they say, time in the markets beats timing the markets every time it's tried. But as the saying goes, you do you. You pick a dollar value that you feel appropriate. Again, we chose $20, and that is because it's a relatively small amount for most of the people listening to this podcast. For some people, $20 is a lot of money. And I was just reading on Reddit the other day of somebody who started dollar cost averaging last week, and they're investing $15. And I think they're only doing it once a week as well. And that is because that is all they can afford. For other people, $15 to $20 is absolutely nothing, and they might feel comfortable investing $1,000 a week or $1,000 a day. So do your own research, and you do you, but hopefully you will at least find this podcast entertaining, if nothing else. So let's get right down to it. As usual, we're going to do our DCA using the handy dandy Cash App. We've been using the Cash App all along because it is just so easy to use. It is available to most of our listeners, and the fees are relatively inexpensive. They're not as cheap as a professional trading platform like Coinbase Pro, for example, but there are certainly more expensive ways to purchase Bitcoin, and as of recording, they will still let you withdraw your Bitcoin to your hardware wallet without a mining fee. So depending on how expensive fees are, even though you're paying that 1.25% or whatever percent fee to purchase Bitcoin, by being able to transfer it to your hardware wallet for free, that might be enough to where you either break even or even save money. Either way, the fees are relatively inexpensive comparatively, and it's just super easy to stack. In addition, they will let you automate your stack if you so choose. As I've explained in almost every other episode, I like to manually enter my transactions. It feels more like I'm participating in the Bitcoin network if I actually sit down and send the transaction at the specific time I feel like investing. For others, that might just be too stressful, and also sometimes you just might forget. If you want to keep your DCA consistent and you are very busy, or you're traveling, or you just want to commit to making that purchase that you might be reluctant to make on a regular basis if you didn't set up an auto DCA, then Cash App will let you do that too. But we're going to manually purchase today, as usual. And also, as usual, I do not have any money on the Cash App, but since I have a debit card linked to Cash App, I can add that instantly. Again, if you don't have Cash App, there is a referral code in the show notes, and if you click on that link and sign up for Cash App, you'll get $10 just for signing up and following their terms and conditions, and we'll get $10 as well, and that'll certainly help us out. Again, that referral code is in the show notes. But use whatever app you feel comfortable with. The important thing is that you be consistent. So we're going to open the handy dandy Cash App. And since I don't have any money, I'm going to click Add Cash and add $20. And it is already there. So now I'm going to click on the B logo, the Bitcoin logo in the bottom right hand corner. Click on Buy and click $20. And it's going to ask us to confirm. And voila, we have just purchased another 32,303 sats. And that's going to bring our stack up to 663,254 sats, worth $401.40. And that is not too shabby since we've only invested $330. Also, that's going to bring our average cost basis down to $51,262.41. And that is because we are purchasing more than $4,000 cheaper than just last week. So you can start to see the beauty of dollar cost averaging. Even after the dip, Bitcoin's over $60,000, and our Bitcoin stash was acquired at an average price of just a little over $51,000. Of course, it's easy to look like a genius during a bull run, but I mean, we just had a 12% correction, and we're still healthily in the green. So again, this is a long-term play, and who knows what our stack will look like in the next crypto winter, but we intend to keep stacking for the long term, either until Bitcoin goes to infinity or crashes and burns, or you just get bored and stop listening. Hey, if you've been enjoying this podcast and you would like to help support us, there are a number of ways you can do so. Obviously, as we mentioned, if you do have the ability to tip on Twitter and you're not already, you can follow us, and we're at BTC Bulletin Pod on Twitter. So we'd appreciate the follow. And if you have the ability, you can tip us there. Also, if you don't have the Cash App already and you would like to use the Cash App to add to your stack, there is a referral link in the show notes. And if you sign up for Cash App and follow their terms and conditions, but if you do so by clicking on that referral link in the show notes, you'll get $5 free, and we'll get $5 free as well just for you signing up. Another way is I've written several books, but the one that is most relevant to this podcast is Understanding Bitcoin for Noobs. and it's available at both Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. And obviously, by purchasing any of my books, that will help support the podcast. You can also support us directly through Anchor.com, and there's a support link in the show notes. And last but not least, we also include a Base32 Bitcoin address in the show notes where you can send us Bitcoin directly if you choose to do so. And if you'd like to contact me or give us any suggestions on what you'd like about the show or what you don't like about the show, again, we're at BTC Bulletin Pod on Twitter. And you can also contact me via email at bitcoinbulletin@protonmail.com. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Bitcoin Bulletin Podcast, DCA Wednesday edition. As usual, thank you for listening, and keep stacking those sats, you sexy sat stackers.